everybody. Welcome back to the kitchen with me. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to be sharing a really healthy dessert recipe with you today. I'm super excited about it and about you guys being here with me. These are all of the ingredients that we're going to make. So what we're making today is what I like to call a love me bar, because it's about self-love and making this for ourselves to feel awesome and sharing it with our friends and family because we also love them. So I've got this little tart pan. This is how we're going to start it. Tart pans are great because the bottoms lift out, and when we're making raw desserts, they don't shrink like when you bake desserts. So having a pan that lifts out or a springform pan will work well too for this recipe. And these are all the ingredients. We have maple syrup, some dates, which I've been soaking because they're not medjool dates, they're honey dates. I have some coconut flour, cacao powder, some gluten-free oats, a little bit of pink salt, and some coconut oil. So I melted the coconut oil over a double boiler because we're not in Costa Rica and it's actually solid here. And we're going to start. We'll start with the base. So the crust begins with 2 cups of gluten-free oats, and a pinch of salt. And we're going to blend these in the blender and make a flour with the oats. You can also do this in a food processor if you like. Okay, here we have our oat flour. So that will go in our mixing bowl. And then we're going to use a half a cup of coconut flour. That'll go right in there. And we'll just mix this together. So that's the pink salt, oat flour, gluten-free oat flour, and coconut flour. Okay, so now we're going to put this back in the blender with our wet ingredients first. So this is going to start with about, let's do a half a cup of dates. Of maple syrup, and a half cup of coconut oil. I'm actually going to add the coconut oil gradually, so we're going to put the wet ingredients, the dry ingredients, into the wet ingredients, and then we'll blend it up, and then we'll add the coconut oil to keep it moving around. Sort of like a raw vegan shortbread. Okay, here is our crust. Now we're just going to put this crust into our tart pan. So there are lots of great healing benefits in this dessert, especially with the dates, which are low glycemic. They're full of minerals and they have an amazing fiber. And fiber, as we know now, is prebiotic, so food for our probiotics. There's also great minerals in there. Base of our dessert. So the only thing that you have to do, there's no pre-soaking for this except for the dates, is just add warm water to the dates, unless you get medjool dates, then there's not a whole lot of prep involved, which is kind of nice. It's a good last minute going to a friend's for dinner treat. Okay, so that's our crust. It's great because we can actually just lift it right out now, but we're gonna let it chill, we'll let it set in the freezer. Okay, so now we just put the crust into the freezer. We're gonna leave it in there for about 25 minutes. And now we're going to make the next layer, which is a date caramel layer. So we're gonna get the blender. And this one calls for 2 cups of, actually 1 cup of dates. So what I like about soaking my dates is that then you have date water, and the date water is a really great part of making the date, this date caramel. So there's my date soaking in water. A little bit of water is going to go in there. We may add extra water too. We'll see what consistency we get. Date water can be used to sweeten your nut milks and things too. Let's see, so we have about just over a packed cup of dates here. And we're going to add some salt to that, something like a little salted caramel. And we're going to use a 1/4 cup of coconut oil again. And some vanilla. I like to use the whole vanilla. The vanilla bean comes from the orchid family. It's pretty amazing, our nature. So you can use vanilla powder for this, or vanilla paste if you like. I'm just going to use fresh vanilla because it's my favorite. And then we're going to blend it together into the caramel. So this caramel is a little thick, the consistency, so we're going to add some of our date water just to thin it out a little bit. Because there's coconut oil in there, because there's coconut oil in there, it will get nice and solid in the fridge. Okay, so that's a better consistency for our caramel. And then we're going to get our tart pan and pour this over the crust. Caramel off the tamper. Don't waste any of that goodness. And then just layer it on top as evenly as possible. You know, I said to put the crust in the fridge for 25 minutes, but the truth is you just want it to chill so it's not warm. And then we're going to put this back in the freezer for a little bit longer. We want this to chill because we're going to pour chocolate. Actually, no, we're not going to pour the chocolate. We're going to cut these into bars and then dip the bars into the chocolate. But you could potentially just pour the chocolate on top and have like a 3-layer bar. So we can go all the way up to the top. So now you're really going to want to let this harden, because you want to cut it into bars and then gonna dip it in our chocolate sauce. We'll put this in the fridge, in the freezer actually, so we can eat it faster. Or eat it sooner, I should say. Okay, so that's our date caramel. Now that's gonna go in the freezer. Now that you're gonna wanna put in the freezer for about 20 minutes, at least. So now we have our bars in the tart pan in the freezer. We put the layer of our caramel, date caramel on top, and we want it to chill, because if we put the chocolate sauce on top now, the chocolate sauce will mix with the date caramel. We really want the chocolate just to be all over the bar. Okay, so this next part of the recipe is our superfood chocolate sauce, and I've done this recipe a few times on Facebook Live, and many years ago I did it on the beach. It was a superfood beach chocolate on YouTube, and it's very simple, this one. Simple, delicious, fast. And if you know me, you know that I don't really like to do recipes that are more than 5 ingredients. I think the simpler the better. And sure, if you're doing a spice blend, the ingredients will go up, but you want it to have simple flavors with a little bit of complexity, and spice is always nice. So we have a 1/4 cup of coconut oil in there. It's virgin coconut oil. Our second ingredient is a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Then we're gonna add our cacao powder. So raw cacao is different than cocoa powder, although cocoa powder should start with cacao beans. Raw cacao is a fermented cacao, full of minerals, lots of minerals, including magnesium, which is really important for our bodies, for sleep, for relaxation, for muscle. And somehow when you have magnesium, that helps stimulate serotonin, which is going to help you sleep at night. So I'm using just underneath a 1/4 cup of the maple syrup for this chocolate sauce. And then we'll just whisk it together. Okay, it's literally as simple as that. This is our chocolate sauce. Let's do the chocolate dance for that. Okay, so we're gonna wait for a minute and we'll be right back. Okay, so I think that our bars should be ready for the chocolate sauce. So grab them out of the freezer, and then thanks to this awesome tart pan, we can just lift them right out. Ooh, look what we do now. Let's put it down here. And hopefully these aren't too goopy to cut. Let's see. Oh yeah. Then we're gonna coat these with chocolate sauce. So it's still a little goopy, but they're gonna go back into the freezer anyways to harden the chocolate sauce. So right now they're just sort of like a little shortbread caramel bar. Slice them and then get them off of this little pan. I'm slicing right on the tart pan bottom. They're just solid enough. They're not gooping over, which is great. Okay. Good. these are actually really high in protein too because of the oats. So we have protein, we have minerals, we have coconut oil, so we have MCT oil for brain and focus. We can feel really good about eating these bars. And then our superfood chocolate sauce. You can change the flavors up in these too. I like to put a little orange zest and ginger in the chocolate sauce, or Chinese 5 spice with cayenne to make like a almost Mexican style chocolate. And there, the chocolate sauce hardens really quickly, as you can see. Because it's cold, so it makes a really nice ganache or chocolate sauce for your ice cream or nice cream. Alright. There we have it. Just try one. That's the Love Me bar from me to you. Please subscribe.